Hello, welcome to my MyWebUniversity free education videos. Actually, it's MyWebUniversity's free educational videos. So you're going to be just watching. Let me just share my screen first. And then you will be watching the YouTube channel that I have, and then the website, mywebuniversity.com. And on my webuniversity.com, I have posted some of the videos, but there's a lot more on YouTube. And so you're welcome to watch them on YouTube. And these are the videos that are posted on mywebuniversity.com. Some of it are there. But if you go to chapter 4 of the book, chapter 4 of my book, The Direct Path to Linux Ubuntu, chapter 4 is about advanced Unix and Linux commands. And basically, we have covered so far about 6 sections of these commands. So if you see on this table that I have here, let me refresh it because there's a lot of banners that are coming. So I just want to see the table better. So if you just refresh it, sometimes you can ignore some of those ads, but you're welcome to click on it as you like if it meets your needs. It's always good to just use those ones as well, because sometimes they provide you a very nice kind of deal that you can just get some class for free or some class to pay half price or whatever, books or something that you could purchase online. So chapter 4 is basically about 88 commands. Each of these commands from user add all the way to the 6th section that I have covered so far, they are all on here. These videos that are, like you can see, Linux OS Advanced Level Chapter 4 Part 1, and then Chapter 4 Part 2, Chapter 4 Part 3, Chapter 4 Part 4, Chapter 4 Part 5, and Chapter 4 Part 6. So far, we are covered all the way to this last one. So 11 of these ones would be like one section, which would be Chapter 4 Part 6. Today, I'm going to cover Chapter 4 Part 7, which is this 11 commands. And these commands will be covered today. And then the video will be posted here as Part 6. And then the last part will be Part 8. And that would complete the entire Chapter 8. So let's just go over Chapter 4 Part 7 using the netstat stuff like that. In order to do that, when I prepared this session for you, so I'm going to run a script that I wrote called Chapter 4 Part 7.sh. And this one basically guides me through the training for this session. The script automatically shows all the commands and everything that I'm going to cover. So first of all, I welcome you to my MyWebUniversity free educational videos. And then the direct path to Linux Ubuntu is my book that I have it online. All you need is a browser and internet access. You don't need an operating system to be installed on your site. Everything is running on my server, and it's from the cloud. It will be just showing the output on your browser. So you don't need a VirtualBox, you don't need VMware, you don't need Linux installation or Unix operating system, anything. All you need is a browser and internet access, and you're welcome to use the website and learn from it and practice the commands online as well. So the advanced commands for this sessions are netstat, iostat, vmstat, SAR, which stands for System Activity Report, cron jobs, free, mpstat, time, nohup, exec, and ncal, which stands for new calendar, similar to calendar command. So we're going to just press enter here to go to the next one. So it's going to show what's the netstat. Netstat basically print network connection, routing table, interfaces, statistics, and masqueraded connection. What is iostat? Report central processing unit CPU statistics of input-output statistics for. What is vmstat? Reports virtual memory statistics. What is SAR? collects, reports, or saves system activity information. It stands for System Activity Reporting. What is cron? It's daemon to execute scheduled commands on Linux and Unix. Cron tab and cron jobs are the part of it. What is free? Allocate and free dynamic memory. That's on C and C++ using malloc and free. Free displays amount of free and used memory in the system. That's free on section 1. mpstat, report processor related statistics. Time 1, run programs and summarize system resources usage. What is nohup? Run a command immune to hang up with output to a non-TTY. So basically nohup will not exit when you exit out of your session. What is exec? Execute a file. What is ncal? Display a calendar and the other the date of Easter. So it's in a Julian format also, it prints it. That's the end of this what is section of it, but I'm going to cover a lot more than that. So I'm going to go back to the browser here, and then we are going to look at the first one. Click on the netstat. Let me just make this screen a little bit bigger so you see the screen much bigger. And then when I click on the netstat, so the program that I wrote on Python, it automatically gave you a what is section that we were just reading for you. Some examples that you can just click on a button and see the output on the browser side. So again, you don't need to install a Linux operating system. You need a browser and then just a desire to practice it on the internet. So here I'm just clicking on netstat to just see the output of netstat-rn. And you can see that the script says that netstat-rn was your command, and here's the output for rn. And -r means the routing table and then kind of number values that show that value. Netstat-an grep listen grep port 80. So this one is going to run the netstat command with all of the ports and then show it in a number, and then grep for listen uppercase, so I don't have to do grep -i. And then by doing this one, it basically checks on the server to see if port 80 is listening. And you can see that the Apache web server is port 80 is listening on the system. And you can also do a netstat, which is on my website. I built this Python program that you can give any argument of 7,000 or 8,000 Linux commands, all of them, you just get the output of it here. And then you can browse here and then read it, go to the see also section. And then if there's anything else that you need to learn, you can practice more on it. Like here, the see also says you need to also learn a route, fconfig, IP tables, proc, SS, and IP. So for example, if I'm just interested on the fconfig command, which was the older version of IP, fconfig, and equivalent to that one is on Windows as ipconfig. So if you run that one, you can see the manual pages for fconfig. Again, for this one, when you go to the see also section, it might tell you that you need to just read more on other ones, similarly to IP and other ones, netstat and everything, ARP and ARP cache and netstat routing tables and everything. So this is about netstat commands here, but let me just go on here and then run some commands here to say, let me just get netstat -an. An gave you all the connections. So then if I just do a grep -i for listen, then I can see that all the ports that are listening. And if I just look for port 80, then I can just get the port 80, the one that we were looking up earlier. The same output is there. And if I'm interested on port 22 for SSH, then I can see port 22 is running. Similarly, any port that is there, I could just grep it. Netstat -rn is going to tell me the routing table in numbers. So this is telling me that, okay, I have a gateway here that is up and running. This UG means up, and it's a gateway. So the Ethernet 0 is the interface, and then it is connecting through this gateway to the internet. And there's a file called resolve.com file. .com file. So that file has the name of servers that it resolves it from the gateway. I have to ping the gateway. If you cannot ping the gateway, you cannot route outside. And then the routing table is there. You can use the route add, the route delete, all of those ones as you go. fconfig -a will just show me the interfaces that were there. And remember, we were looking at some of these commands. So the Ethernet 0 is the one, and normally the IP address of the host machine is tied to that. So if I just say fconfig Ethernet 0, Ethernet 0, I believe it was, yeah, Ethernet 0, and then that's the IP address here. That means that at this MAC address, we are just connecting to this IP address, and then that IP address, if I do an NS lookup on it for 74.208.220.231, that's a reverse NS lookup, which is host name is MyWebUniversity.com. You can see that it is MyWebUniversity.com. I can also do NS lookup on MyWebUniversity.com, and it will tell me that that is the IP address for it. I can also do host MyWebUniversity.com. So a lot of these commands are related, and then dig MyWebUniversity.com. So you can see that they're all related. And then netstat was doing this one. The routing table is there, netstat minus rn. The routing tables are shown here. And that's what I'm going to cover at this time about netstat. But at a later date, if I'm interested in, there's more request comes in from people watching it, and the people are interested for me to go over some topic in more details, I can do that. iostat is the input-output statistics. And when you do this one, it says that report iostats. And iostats normally give you statistics of the disks, of how the system is happening, what is there. So right now you can see that some of the iostat on 1.1, when you say 1.1, you're saying that the delay is 1, and then the number of count is 1. So if you run it with 1.3, like 3 repetition count of it, but 1 second delay between them, you can see that the iostat statistics are 3 times are displayed here. And then normally it shows the blocks and of IO in kilobytes, or whatever size of the block. Normally the old style was 512, now it's 4K, and then the block size will be read, and then it will be written at the same time. Well, iostat, you can see the devices that are showing on the disks, SDA1 and SDB, SDA and SDB. So I can also look at the command ls block. ls block will just tell me that I have these devices called SDA and SDB, as you can see. And then iostat, when you do iostat, if you do like 1 and 5, 5 repetition, every time it runs this information, and then it prints it out. Let me just do this one in twice, but I'm going to do another command to see a different color. So you can just do this lolcat at the end of it, which is a very nice utility that formats it in a very nice color, so it doesn't look like, oh, I cannot read that one, it's blue on green. At least this one is more readable, so you can get the output of iostat differently there. And then as you can see, man, iostat, if you want to get more detail of it, some of the information in terms of all the parameters that you're passing, it shows the user, the NICE, the process that are idle, the process that are virtual machine is stealing it, and all that details. vmstat, iostat, and mpstat, they're having similar parameters and then similar statistic. And sometimes you can run also top to just generate certain information, because whatever you're looking at, the CPU, memory, or I/O, or disk, that you can get it all that information from the top as well. And then the number of processes, if they're nice, the process ID, the users, the resident portion of memory, the virtual memory, the CPU, the memory, and then the actual command and the time that it elapsed and everything. At the same time, you can see, for example, on the memory, everything here, and then the swap space here and the CPU here. All that information is there. You can also get htop, which is like a graphic version of top, and then do that one. For iostat, there's also a command iotop, but it might not be installed by default. So if I just say which iotop, it might not just be installed. So sorry, which iotop, and then it's not installed. So I could say, since this one is cat etc os-release, it's Ubuntu, so then I have to do a like sudo su dash first, and then I could just say apt search iotop, see if that package is available for me to install it. Then it says full text search done, and then it shows the package, and then I could say apt install iotop, and then iotop will just also show what is the activity. Sometimes when you troubleshoot the top command, and then you say, well, something is like bottlenecking, either with maybe a backup running, a tarball running, a copy, a find command, traversing through the root directory and it's reading gigabyte of files, then you could say, well, I need to run to see iotop. And then iostat is there as also. We did iostat already. So let's see which iotop, and iotop is now installed. You can run it, and it just looks at the processes to see if there's any bottlenecking happening on the devices that you're reading it. As you can see, everything looks good on the IO is zeros, and there's nothing bottlenecking, so it's okay. We could just exit out of this one. So I just installed iotop, and that's why iotop, when I did which, it was there and it was available there. So now if I say apt list iotop, then it will just say that it is installed. And if I say apt search iotop, it was already telling me that it was there for me to install it. And then with apt, you can get a list of help on this one. So search show, and then the other one that I wanted to do is apt show iotop. This would show on the more details about the iotop, where I can get more information, the version, if I have to report the bug report, where I can report all of that detail. Similarly, if I just do a iostat here, since iostat is also installed, it just let's do apt list iostat, and then iostat is just there, which iostat, and then file user bin iostat. This is part of a package that was built in for something. Then you can do apt find and then iostat. That way, do this like apt dash find and then search iostat. This is equivalent to running like DNF space provides iostat, or yum search iostat. I mean, yum provides iostat on Red Hat or CentOS or Linux. But the Debian, if you don't do the apt find is not found. Did you mean apt pt find? So apt. Let me try it first. Which apt? And dash get, and then I say which apt dash get user bin star apt. So this is all the commands that are related to apt, apt config. Apt file is the one that I was looking for, not apt find. So apt find, if you could do like apt dash find file, and then after that one search, and then iostat. That would search for iostat inside thousands of files and list all of the files that are related to the name iostat. And you can see some of them are iostat here. So if I do which iostat, you can see it's under user bin, and then I can do a grep -i bin to see if there's any of these packages that are related to iostat. But if it doesn't report it, it does actually. So mpstat, this iostat. There's not one individual that would have the exact name that is having iostat, and that's not here. Yeah, actually, the last one, user bin iostat. So systat is the package name most likely. I could do a apt search systat, and then that would just search it. Yeah, and then you can see that that is the package. You can do a show on it. And then get the list of them and everything else. iostat report the CPU utilization, as you can see here. Description. So that package is apt manual installed. Yes, you can see it is there. So let's go to the next one. The next one is, and you can also look at the manual pages on my website from there. The vmstat. vmstat is a virtual machine statistic or memory. So similarly, you have an option of 1 to just get a 1 status. Notice that vmstat is showing what is happening with memory. The actual process is saying that if it is running a state or wait state or block state, so the wait state would be just when the process is fetch back, it is going to be in wait state till CPU is available for it. Then when it is on CPU, it is in run state. Then the process are being swapped between memory and then the free memory that is available, and then what's in the buffer and what's in cache. And then the swap in and swap out. Swap in when you're swapping into the disk, and swap out from the disk. And then the IO is block input for reading and block out for writing. And then system is, so this one is for interrupt calls, the IN for IO interrupt calls, and then system, and then you have CS for context switching, and then the user level in the system for the process, the percentage that is on the user level, the percentage for the system kernel level, and the percentage of CPU that is working on idle, and then the wait, and then if any a stale process on the CPU. That's what those flags means. So you can get the 1.3 also here. And then the output of some of these ones are very intuitive when you look at it. You read those ones, and if you see a bigger numbers on somewhere, and that is okay, there's a lot of maybe idle or wait state or stale process, and then you're having some issues. And you can look at the top and you can trace them. There's strace on Windows and Linux, and trace command on Solaris that you can trace the process based on the systems, what's happening. For example, here, if I clear my screen and I say pwd, that just run that command. But if I say strace pwd, it shows all the system calls that is happening. So if something hangs, like for example, you SSH to itself, let's say wlitfi at MyWebUniversity.com, it will prompt me there. Then I type in the password, and then I just get into the login. Now I'm there. I exit out of this. If I clear my screen and then do the same thing with and instead of dash L in front of it, I put dash VVV. That means that in verbose mode, run it in debug mode, so I could just see where the bottleneck is if it hangs for me here. So I could just say log in here, and then I'm going to type in the password correctly, and then it logs me in. And so, but this time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to type in the password incorrect. And notice that it says send packet, but it did not work there. So if I just exit out of this one and then run in front of this one, strace. Strace meaning that show me all the function calls and the system calls on this one, so I can see where the bottleneck is. But right now it's doing a read for, meaning that it's waiting for my password to type in the password. And then if I just type in any junk here, and then it's going to try to read that junk, and then it's going to say, oh, I did not, and your password did not match. So if I just 10 times fail after a certain amount of times, the system should just say that you have tried enough. You're not going to be allowed to just break your own system. So at some point, you just have to try it again later. Or if sometimes lock you up on the password file. So, but I'm just showing you that these ioctl called read on these file descriptors right here that is opening for file descriptor for write access and so on. All of that is there. So I'm going to Control C out of this. I don't need to run these commands. I just was telling you that with strace, whatever command you do, like if you do clear screen, and it clears the screen, like here I type in clear screen, it does that. But then if I say strace clear command in front of it, notice that it did show exactly all the calls that was done before it actually did the clear the screen. So those are the function calls that was used to just, it does this function called exec CVE. Later on, I will show you the exact system tree calls. When you do the man on that one, is actually we're running exec, and then exec VE is one of the system calls that are related to exec also. All these memory map, all those other ones are in the detail of it. But we're not getting into that level of details. We're going to just point to some of the related commands, so it helps you out much faster in troubleshooting. Let's just go back out of here. So we covered vmstat, and then the next thing we want to do is on the vmstat, I want to also show you some of the flags of the options that you're doing here. So when you do the man pages, you're always welcome to try some of these ones. So like dash F. So if I just do vmstat dash F, it just shows the number of forks. Forks is like spawning a child process. And since the system boot, it forked that many child process. So every time you go, it will just fork more child process, as you can see, right? So the command I do here, and then I just do a fork again, and it will just show that the number increases and there. Let's see, I'm back here, dash fork, dash M slab, and headers, all of those details are here to get the stats, and then D for disk summary for the disks. So like, for example, vmstat, clear the screen, vmstat, and then dash uppercase D, it will just give you a disk summary. You can see the partition tables and everything. So the proc file system also, you can see cat/proc, and then partition tables, partitions. Then you, cat/proc/partitions. And sorry, what I mistyped it again. So let me just clear the screen, vmstat-d, and then I'm going to do cat proc, and then partitions. This is the partition tables of all the devices that are there on the slices. So when you do a df-h, you will see all the devices that are there on this. And when you do ls block, you can see that one as well. PV display. This is the physics volume group display, I believe it is. Yeah, volume group display, and then physical volume display is the physical volume. You can see the physical volume name is /dev is the MD3, and then the volume group display, we have the volume group is volume group 00, and then the entire LV display on this one is just basically, if I type in with more, you can see for all the partition that we were looking at /partition, there's user partition or file system, or /bar file system, and then /home file system. All of those ones are mounted as this file system here, /user, /var, and then these are the volume group that we were looking at it. And then ls block is also showing here. You can also do ls hardware, and then ls hardware is showing you the details of the entire hardware. And similarly with ls CPU for the CPU details that you could do. And then similarly, you can run the free-h command or free-m command. H dash give you in memory and human readable, which is in gigabyte. If the size is there, and then M is dash regular, what kilobytes and megabytes in size. But there's also cat proc mem info for memory information. You can read all the details of how your system total memory it is, and how much is available, how much is free, and everything. And then similarly, you can also do for the CPU info. So the proc file system is a pseudo file system. It is very easy to just get the information. When you look at these files, like, you know, okay, I have an AMD processor, and then what is the speed of it, the model, everything, and the megahertz, and then the size and everything is all there showing you. So like you can see the number of processor. So you can also do ls CPU, and then that would show the CPU detail, and then you can see the CPUs, and there are 6 of them on this machine. And then there's threads, 2 of the threads there. The number of socket is 1. All that detail is there. So if I just see the model name is AMD, and this is the model information from this. So let's just get some more information, like ls hardware -c and disk for class for related to the disk. You can do that one, or you can do a class CPU, the hardware. So some of the related command I'm showing here, because we are covering advanced level. I want you to just make sure that when you're comparing these things, in order to troubleshoot the system better, you just are kind of like not tied to one command output, and just make a conclusion that this is the issue. Because sometimes you are going to read the data further, and then you analyze that, oh yeah, and this is really good. So, and the SAR in this case is a system activity report. Sometimes the SAR itself is a cron jobs that runs as sys. So the sys account has to be enabled, and then the cron job has to run as sys, and then has to be enabled on the system. When you start it, then do once you run those cron jobs, then you can just do SAR-uppercase A for all, -C for CPU, something else for memory. All these other arguments that are there, you can just practice with them and get the data. At the time when you are actually writing some statistic report, you could get these ones, and you get good at it. And from time to time, you might not even work with it, because there's a lot of activities on the system that you can monitor with different tools and everything. But SAR is very good reporting software. I used to use it there for many years, but from time to time, because when you have thousands of servers, you don't look at these data all the time. So it is good to just look at the server based on some kind of base model. So if you're collecting this system activity report, when you bring the system online, you just collect this data, then put it into a database or put it into some log files or some flat file that you can refer to later. And then at the same time, you can collect that statistic at peak time, at the rush hour. So for example, if a freeway is not busy at all, why would you just worry about collecting statistic? And when the rush hours is just getting a bottleneck on the freeway, that a driving of 30 miles per hour or 5 miles per hour and bothers everybody, then you need to just find out ways to speed up the or add more lanes or whatever could be impacted. So with the system, you do the same thing, whether it's bottleneck is CPU, memory, IO, whatever is the bottleneck, you just take care of that one by running those software to do it. And then man-SAR, we could do as get the it says collects report of save system activity, and then obviously you run it as packages as root with sys object thing. So on the var is full cron, and then cron tabs. Usually, and there's files that are sys and root. When you install the SAR software to just make sure that you have a statistic, there will be a sys a cron job here. Then you enable this cron jobs, and then once you run it, then you collect it. So SAR -A right now, it just says cannot open because these cron jobs are not have not run there. And then please check if data collection is enabled. In order to do it, you have to actually have a reason for it to collect the statistic first. Otherwise, why would you just run something on the system to slow your system down, or when you're not looking at the logs at all, or just collect some statistic that we're not looking at it. But if you're looking at it, yes, then you need to just switch user to like sys level, and then that account is not available. So that is because I'm running a web server, and if I'm not the owner of the entire web server to just set up, then I cannot do it. So I have to add the user sys and then install the enable the SARs in order to get it up and running, and then you can run those commands. But I don't need it, so I'm okay with it. So let's just look at the next command. The next command here we're discussing is cron. Cron is similar to but cron jobs is a little bit bigger. And then normally on the system, when you do man cron, it just tells you that you can run the cron jobs to execute the schedule commands. So in this case, if I'm just logged on as root, I could do a cron tab -L, and automatically tells me that I have this cron job, which is the content of this file. So more of root is just basically the same file. If I just have this file, notice the permission is read-write for the owner, and then everybody else is blocked. But and the cron is right now is nothing is enabled on it. I'm not running any cron job. So cron tab -L -u root will just reveal the same thing. So when you say -L -u wlutfi, I don't have a cron job. You can easily see that one. If I exit out of here and then say id wlutfi, cron tab -L will just reveal the same thing. But if I go back to root level and then I want to just do a cron job, so then on this one I could just say cron tab -L, it's this cron job. And then if I just want to run some script, I'm going to do cron tab -E for edit, and then automatically it gets this. Now let me just change my coloring scheme to, let's say, blue. Yeah, blue is okay. And then let's see, color. So in VI, you can just change different coloring scheme. It's really nice. You could do skip shift tab on this one and shift tab, color, and then press shift tab, I think shift tab. It will just tell you the next color that is available. So like I could also do like color Pablo. So whatever color I like, and then I could just change it, my setting to that color, and then do this. So if on this one, I just like this cron job to run at this midnight every day, then I can just, on Sunday, that's one, it means Sunday, every hour, and then I could run that script and just does the backup of that one, and just / home directory will be backed up, but I don't need it, so I'm not gonna enable it. But that's how you do it. And if you just wanna run something like every minute, every hour of the time, you can also do this. And then that 5 of these ones, basically meaning that let me just do, the color is not good. So color blue, color, I'm going to do industry. Yeah, some of these ones are way, color is shift tab, dark blue, default, delete, desert. So desert is also not good. Color blue is okay, but I'm going to not do any cron here. I'm just going to clear the screen and then just exit out of that one. And you can also do man cron tab. Cron tab is also tells you about the commands that I was running, like -e for edit, -l for reverse, less than -r to remove the cron, and -u to get the user, whether it's wlutfi or user. And if you want to just provide a cron tab file name, you can do that one. This etc cron.allow and cron.deny, 2 files that were there on the board on the old systems. Like you see, if you have that .allow, then the file is going to allow everything as long as the name is not on the etc cron.deny. But if it finds it on the deny, it will deny it. And then if it finds it on the allow, if I give user 1.allow, then everybody else is denied. So by default, if you don't have a cron.deny, then you want to make sure that you only create the .allow if you have the cron.deny file. If you don't have any of them, then by default, everybody's allowed and everybody is okay to just add it, and then you can add cron entry there. So and then what is cron? We already cron tab. We can just see also the cron tab saying they maintain cron tab entries for the cron job. So let's see the next one. The next command here we have is free command. Free is very easy command. You could just get the statistics of the system like we did in the -h. So this system tell me I have 15 gigabytes of memory, and I use this -h means in human readable format, because it's much easier to so you don't have to do transferring from this to like in kilobyte to megabyte. So if I say free dash by itself, and then it shows these numbers, then I have to say, well, basic calculator, and then get this number, for example, a total of it, then divided by 1024 times 1024. Then let's just divide it by 1024, and it 15,991 divided by 1024 again, it will say 15 gig. So that 15 gig that we have here, it is just equivalent to that one. But that's why when we say human readable, you don't have to do all these things. The computer automatically does it for you. That's why we call it human readable. So free, clear the screen, free -h or free -m or free by itself, and kilobytes, and then m megabytes, and h for gigabyte. So this information is basically the total amount of memory you have, how much is used, how much is free, and how much is in the buffer cache, and how much is available. So you can also get that information from top. And then you can see the memory is 15 gig total, and then what is free and what is used and everything. For swap is also there, and the swap related information here. So you can also get the uptime system uploaded and everything. Swap on dash S, and then you can get the swap information. Free dash H, we already looked at it, and swap is showing the 4 gig partition that is there. And then it's good that the system, when it doesn't do any swapping, and the memory that is available, it is serving all the resources. So let's look at the next one. mpstat. mpstat is statistic about the CPU. And that's also report CPU statistics based on a number of user, NICE, system, IO wait, interrupt request, software request, steal for the virtual memory, and gas, NICE, and idle. All of that information. And if you have everything looking so good for you, then you're okay with the CPU. Unless you see some bottleneck, you don't need to worry about it. And then man mpstat, you can also get some statistic here. And so when we do one every 1 second, a delay of 3, we can run, like, for example, clear screen and mpstat, one every delay 5 count of it. Every 1 second it will run the command and then do the same output. But then we can do this one, laugh out loud cat command, and then get it in a nicer screen so we can read it better, pleasant for the eyes, rather than this blue screen. So clear the screen and then run this last one. It will just run. And then you can look at the statistics. So instead of running it 1 second delay, let's run a 2 second delay. Then that would just, like, you could do like 5 second delay or a minute delay. So you can see how the system is reacting, and then collecting that information and send it to a file or something, and then monitor it at the peak time to see what is and the system doing, where is the idle processes happening, and what is happening on the system. So like right here on the top, also look at that CPU here, 0.1% on user and 0.0 system kernel. So nice. It's like the idle is 99.9. The system is so good. It's like performing so well. There's no zombie process, defunct process, nothing, 0. So if I clear it here and say uptime, I'm sorry, clear a screen uptime, you can see that load averages, and there's no load on the system. With all the activity that I'm doing and everything that is running on the web server here, the system is much faster and everything is good, robust. So with the man mpstat, you can get a lot of other kind of data here. -A for all of them. This one you can do it, and then sometimes, like, you can get specify the number of decimal places, default value 0 or 1 or 2. This is the says number of CPUs. If you want to just do, if you do -A by default, is just all the CPUs, and then if you do a -P for the processor, you will get all this processor as well. So by default, if you don't do anything, with mpstat will run the -A, and then the print version number and exec and so on. So just as a thing, it says mpstat 2.5 and then -mp all, this one. So if you do say mpstat 2.5 and then -p uppercase and then all, this would just basically run on all CPUs the same thing twice, and then 2 seconds and 5 times. And then if you want it in a nicer format, again, and do this command and then get the output in a nicer format. Okay, so let's look at the next one, which is mpstat time. Time is very good command. You have also a function time, which is when we're talking about this section 1 of the man pages, that is just time some of your statistic, collect some statistic, elapsed time of everything that you do. For example, when you run this command, we can do time in front of it. For each of the command that runs, it will give us statistics of time, how much time it took for the details of the command to be finished before it finished right here. And then if I just do a time ID wlitfy, then you can see that time pwd, time ls minus l, so time find dot minus name star dot cp plus plus. If I just do this one, and if I just go to home wlitfy programs, and then right here I run the same command, it will just run all those list of the listing the CPU. Now if I just say okay, minus exec, which is coming next on the session, I'm going to run this, run the execute, and give me a long listing of the files. Notice that time, it was 0.005 second here, now it's 0.38 millisecond. So if I just do the same thing and run a command like cat command to just display them, it is just moved a little bit more. So if I just say, show me all the script there that are shell script .sh, and cat them in there, you could see that same thing. And then if you just say, let's do this find command on the etc directory, time find /etc minus name, and then star minus type f. So this will list all the files in there. But if I just say, well, everything that is there, at the same time say cat them to display the content of it, cat minus n, with the line number, how many lines are there, and then each one of them, and then just execute them. So notice that in every one of them, when I run the minus exec, it opens a lot of these files with different syntax, and then eventually bedwise command not found, it try to do execute some of it, which is not a good idea to do that one, because when you do a minus exec, sometimes it's just passing on as a child process that one, and doesn't keep the parent process there. So I will talk about that one also in the next session. I mean, in this session, but I'm going to talk about the next command when we cover it. So time is there, we run time. Nohup is like a very good friend when you just needed to just leave work, and then you're at 7 or 6 p.m. and everybody else is gone, and you need to finish some task, but that task is going to take a few more hours. And sometimes you say, well, I wish I could just type the command and then let the script do the completion, then I can check it from home when I get home in 2 or 3 hours of rush hours. So sometimes you do that one, and then the nohup is your friend. You run the command, and then you connect to a database that may take all day, and you exit out of your session. You don't have to be logged on the system. The nohup means no hang up. That's what the nohup does. It's very easy command, and whenever you run it with an argument, you just create the file that you want to create, and if you just don't give any argument, the file by default it creates a nohup.output. And then you can just see also here that you can send it to redirect it to a file, and there you can just do that. So let's just run a command here, and we just say nohup with it, and I show you exactly what I mean by nohup. So if I just say, let's see if I just run this script called, I'm going to run a command, and then let's see, on the shells directory, I might have some script that I could run. So let's see, star.sh, and nx ps1.sh. So let me just write a script here quickly. I'm going to say demo1.sh. So we're going to just say /user bin env bash. Let me change my thing color Pablo, and then we say bash, and then we say we're not going to put any comment, anything. We just say ls-lr etc directory, and this is going to run for a while. And then the output, I'm going to send it here, and then say the output is saying that greater sign etc dash ls dash lsr ls dash lr dot text. So I know that that file is going to be created there. I could also say 2 greater sign &1, meaning that the output, the errors, everything, send it to the same file. So the redirection, when you're doing 2 greater sign &1, meaning that whatever is this standard output file is, which is etc and dash ls dash lr and dot text, the standard error also should be redirected to that one, to this file. So the error or cache, that way my script doesn't fail. So if I just do that one, and then now say demo1.sh, I could do a shell bash -x to run it in the debug mode, and then see if the output is there, and then run the nohup in front of it. But I could also do change mode 755 and demo1.sh. Now demo1.sh, as you notice that I made it executable by myself as root and everybody else that has access to execute it. So now that file is executable, I could just, if I run it by default demo1.sh, and then if I close my session, sometimes depending on what shell your session, when you close your terminal, this program will terminate because it doesn't have the parent process that it called it. And so in order to make sure it doesn't hang up, you say nohup demo1.sh. Now it is running, and then it created a file nohup.out. And then notice that the nohup.out is there. And if I look at the process -i demo1.sh, you can see that the process already finished. And let's see if nohup is there, nohup.out. And then the nohup.out already is some data is written in it, and nohup.out, and then 0 byte is still. So let's see if the output file that I was expecting it already created. It already created this file more etc-ls-lr.txt, and this is the etc directory. So it finished faster, but if you have a job to just go on all this thing forever, then yeah, you can do a nohup and leave the room, and then you're okay. But make sure that the nohup is running on both bash, corn shell, C shell, through C shell, all of the shells that we can name it. Let's go to the next command. This video is a little bit longer than what I was thinking of. And let's see what we are there. Nohup, exec, and ncal. So these 2 commands are faster. We already experienced with the exec. With exec, I'm going to show you a couple of things. So if I'm just exiting out of here and then I'm just looking at my shell, I'm bash. If I just type in corn shell, and then now I'm on corn shell. And then if I just go again bash, I'm on the next shell. So now echo $$ will be this bash, the process ID. So that is that 25 one. And if I exit out of that one and then I say PS, now notice the echo $$ will be the process ID of the corn shell. And then similarly, I exit out of that one and then I say PS, now echo $$ is my bash. But if I do the same thing, and instead of doing cron shell, I could type in, this time I'm going to type in exec, and then spawn this shell, cron shell. Notice I can do any command here, it's fine, because I forked a child process cron shell, but that does not have the parent process replaced. The parent process is no longer there. So the minute I just exit out of this cron shell session, if I just type in exec, my terminal will just be gone. It's just because the parent process is no longer there. So now I have to just open up on this bitwise and just open another terminal and then do the same thing. Now notice that I'm back to my original bash. So if I want to keep that with exec, I could say exec cron shell and then $shell. This will just allow me to just say, well, it will close it because this bash command is not there. So it says shift control P, and then it will just close it and then reopen it back. So you could do that one. For example, if I say exec here pwd, it's gonna close, it runs the command pwd, at the same time it's gonna just, so let's just send this one to say pwd.text. It just closed it, but then it ran the child process pwd command, so it created pwd.text already. And pwd.text has the output of that command. If I say exec ls-l greater sign ls-l.text, so it is going to run the ls-l as a child process, but it is going to call the parent process, and it's going to close my browser, my terminal. So I have to go back to it. And now if I do ls-ltr, notice that ls-l is the last file that I just got created. So if I do ls-l, it ran that command, it created that file. So what I'm showing here in comparison, if I just do bash -c ls-l greater sign ls-l .info, and then now I created, but I'm not exiting out. If I replace that one with let's say info1, and then I'm going to do this one with exec, and then now my terminal session, the parent process gone, but yet those three files that I created, the info with the bash is there, and then the info1 with the exec is there. Okay, and then we can just cat the files. It doesn't matter. The content we know is a listing of the files. So you can also do exec with the files. So here I could say find dot minus name star dot c++ minus exec. This is dash exec ls-l, and then at this time I'm going to just say go to a loop. Starting beginning loop here and ending loop, and this is a line terminator. So I could say give me a list of all the files there, and then I could also type in, instead of this one, a class that would do this. But exec is saying that when you get the output of this star.c++, I want to do a listing on it. If I want to do something like, for example, a statistic on it, a stat on it, then I could get the statistic on it. So if I clear my screen here and then just say stat, then you can see that it gets you statistic. And then if I just do some of these commands, sometimes it prints you in a nice color. When you want to do that kind of format, you're welcome to play it. So the Linux and Unix and programming is much, much easy if you know how to do it. And I remember a long time ago, I was teaching back in 90, 98, 99, I was teaching at National University. One of my students was at DBA, Oracle DBA at Boeing. He was actually very smart person, but he was joking with me and he says, Wahid, all I see is a $sign in front of me. If I want to print, how do I know what command I need to type in? you know, it's like you look at VI. What does VI stand for? I said visual interpreter. He said no, visually impossible. But he was joking. And then I said, okay, that's fine. And then later on, he was actually talking about the dollar sign and just seeing it. And then he says, when I'm on Windows, if I want to print, then I just go on the file print and I print the file. But here I have to do LPR and all that commands. If I'm not familiar with it, Unix is not user friendly. But I said, you know what, you're right, but Unix and Linux chooses their friends. You have to learn it. Once you learn it, you're their friend at all. I mean, at all time. And so sometimes in life, that's how we are. And we find somebody that knows that our habit or we have same kind of characteristic, then we become friends, and the rest of our life we understand each other. So that's how Unix and Linux is. If you know it, it's very easy, very intuitive. If you are not working on the system, sometimes it's difficult, and I can see it is sometimes how much you're exposed to it, or how much you want to learn from it, or how much you're studying it at college or school, or books that you read. And if you're not interested in reading it, yeah, it's not friendly at all in that way. But it has a GUI interface as well. So nowadays, everything with a nice desktop VNC, virtual desktop network software, or Tiger VNC or RHEL VNC and other ones, they provide a very nice interface to, and the Xterm, Xorg, and GUI interface of the Linux part or Unix part, or Solaris, the virtual box, you can install it, or Rocky, Red Hat, and all those Red Hat 9 and everything. They're very nice, intuitive in terms of graphic as well. So let's go to the next command, which is the last command, ncal. Ncal is very easy command, and then it shouldn't be in the advanced section, but somehow at that time I put it, and I said, well, maybe it is good to just include it in there, because some of the feature of ncal, it was not on the cal previously, especially on a Solaris platform or BSD platform, Unix stuff. But on Linux, ncal provides some nice tools. So if I say, for example, cal for calendar, ncal, it would give you the same kind of information, but notice both of them are doing it in a different format. So cal minus j for Julian format, and ncal minus j also give you Julian format. And if you look at the cal for minus before 2 months before the current month, sorry, 2 months before the current month, and if you're reading that one, basically it shows the before and after. So ncal is doing the same thing. And then if I do 12 months before, you can see all that one. And if you want to say, and give me 2 months in Julian format and Julian format, then you could see in Julian format there. And if you say ncal minus A2, that's after. For example, now we're on July, ncal, we're July 24th. Today is Saturday in the beautiful city of Diamondburg, Southern California, Pacific Standard Time. And then I'm using Eastern Daytime, which is a cloud that maybe is running on New York or somewhere. And the actual headquarter of this company is in Germany, but software and the cloud that I'm running on is maybe in Eastern Daytime. So you can see that the cal and everything, if I just say ncal minus A 5 months after this month of July, so you can see up to December. And then if I just get it let's say for 9070, the entire calendar is there. If I want to say, for example, give me the January month of January for epoch calendar, when the Linux operating system or Unix operating system AT&T version at Bell Laboratories started, it is called the epoch calendar, January 1st of 9070. was the first time that Unix was introduced at Bell Laboratory by Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. Dennis Ritchie, God bless him, was the pioneer for C programming language, and he wrote the AT&T version at the Bell Laboratory with Ken Thompson. Ken Thompson made a lot of contribution in terms of set, awk, and ED, and regular expression, and piping, and everything else. And thank God he's still alive, and he's still maybe retired lately, or a few years back. But good news is he's still alive and he's still contributing. So we're done with this session, which was session 7. And then let me just thank you for being online with me. And then I appreciate you watching it and learning it from it, make a difference for your life. So let me go there, shell, let's see, programs directory, programs, and then shells. So I'm going to run this script called piece.sh, and then I just basically thank you for watching my YouTube channel, which is MyWebUniversity free educational videos. And then this is the URL basically. If you visit this URL, you can subscribe. You can also watch this video. You can also watch this video, and at the end of this video, you basically will just be able to go to my, subscribe it basically. If you go to this URL right here, this URL is the website. So I could paste that video here, and I'm at the dashboard, but because I'm going to post that one, and this is the URL where you can subscribe it, or just at the end of this video when you watch it, the subscription will show up. Please subscribe, and then make some comments so I could and just see where I can improve, or where are the areas that you need the most help. I will provide you some details on that. Have a nice one. Take care. Have fun. Love and peace to you all. Bye.